and welcome to another edition of Old Max Nuggets, a Brian's Heating and Air Conditioning podcast where we get on here and we talk about common questions that the homeowner might have about their heating and air conditioning. My name is Brooklyn and I am here with Brian Nacarado, the owner and president of Brian's Heating and Air Conditioning. How are you doing today?
It's a great day today, Brooklyn. How are you?
I'm doing well. Very good.
So, Brooklyn, what's our topic today?
Well, today we're going to talk about R22 and certain factors that revolve around that. For one of them being, why is R22 so gosh darn expensive?
Yeah, well, that's a great question. We do get asked that a lot. R22 was actually phased out of production a few years ago. And so any R22 that we have available typically has been recycled or reclaimed refrigerant. And with that process, there's a expense that goes along with that, and so the price of R22 has just continued to climb over the last several years. Now, we have been selling R410A refrigerant and the products that use 410A for over 20 years now.
Oh, wow.
And so there have been a lot of cases where when the 410A units first came onto the market, we actually had R22 units available and we had 410A. At that point, it didn't really make much sense to buy an R22 unit because everybody knew that the phase out was coming. And so it would make more sense to go ahead and invest in the unit that used the 410A refrigerant. And so for that reason, the price of R22 started to climb. There were certain mandates that came down that the production of R22 had to start to decline over several years until it hit that phase out point. So again, that's one of the big reasons why it is so terribly expensive right now. There are a lot of companies in our market area that have chosen to no longer purchase R22 refrigerant from the distributors because of the price. And if somebody has a leak and needs R22 refrigerant, their solution for that customer is to replace the system. That's not necessarily a bad way to go. Again, R22, before long, it's going to be so cost prohibitive to add refrigerant into a system that going ahead and doing that upgrade is a good idea. But currently, we still have R22 available for our customers.
Okay. That's a good thing to know.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Brian, I did hear that there's going to be some refrigerant changes coming in 2025.
Yeah, that is correct. So in 2025, again, new mandates that are coming through, manufacturers will no longer be able to manufacture units that use 410A.
Wow.
Now, we have different manufacturers are going to different refrigerants. Not every manufacturer has chosen the same refrigerant to be their go-to in the future. So one of the things is that all of the current units that are manufactured, whether they be sitting in warehouses at the manufacturing facilities or distributors, they're allowed to sell those off. It's just at January 1, manufacturers can no longer make anything that uses 410A. And so with the new refrigerant that we have coming down the pike, again, it is more eco-friendly. And so that's why it has been mandated to go to something other than R410A.
Okay, so let's say that I get a new unit this year, and it's an R410A system, but in 2025, we're switching over to new refrigerant. R410A is nixed at that point. Is that am I gonna need to get a new unit or?
No, and that's a good question because we ran into the same thing when R22 units were no longer being produced. Again, manufacturers could sell those off. We still had R22 refrigerant available at that time, but in this particular case, R410A refrigerant is used in the majority of the units that are out there now in terms of residential air conditioning systems. And so the refrigerant itself will be around for a long time. It's just that the government has drawn a line in the sand, so to speak, and said as of this date, no more manufacture of R410A units, but the refrigerant is still available.
Okay, I gotcha. So if the manufacturing is kind of nixed, is that going to mean that the price of R410A is going to jump up like R22 did?
Well, it would stand to reason that's probably going to happen. And so probably not to the extent that R22 did, but there's some talk within the industry that the price of the R410A refrigerant will be going up some. Currently, we do not have, as of this date, we do not have the new units available from the manufacturers yet. And most of the manufacturers are targeting to have those available by the fourth quarter of 2024. So if at this point, if someone said, well, I want a unit with the new refrigerant, depending on the manufacturer, they may not be available yet. And so we're going to continue to sell the R410A product as long as we can until the new refrigerant units are available.
Okay, so if there was a manufacturer who had the new refrigerant units available, would you be allowed to put that into somebody's home? Or is that,
yeah, we don't have to wait until January of 2025. And as soon as they become available, we are in a position where we are allowed to install those units. I will tell you this, most of the distributors probably have lots and lots of R410A units sitting in the warehouse that they want to get rid of before they bring in the units that use the new refrigerant.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm. So Brooklyn, I got another promo for you.
Oh?
If one of your podcast listeners has a problem with refrigerant and would like to have somebody come out and check their system, we'll be glad to have one of our technicians come out, and if they are low on refrigerant, we will waive the service call and just charge for the refrigerant only if they mention today's podcast.
Keep this in your back pocket come summertime. Okay, well that's amazing. Thank you, Brian.
Hey Brooklyn, before we get out of here, I got a joke for you. How did the Scarecrow win a Nobel Prize?
How?
He was outstanding in his field. Till next time, old Knack out.